I'll show you how to cut holes for the motors and how to mount the motor mount. If you have if you have a four-wheel drive instead of two-wheel drive, if you have four-wheel drive. So first, pull up the Fusion 360, log into Fusion 360, and make sure you're in your account, and make sure to go back to where the file that you were on last time, which is the BattleBot project, the demo bot. I called it demo bot, but whatever name you called it, make sure to pull it up. And then let's go to you see how it looks like this now. And I clicked away the 9 dots over here so I can have a bigger screen. And then make sure that you are on the chassis, because we're still working on the chassis to make that cut for the motor mount. So I'm inside the chassis. Don't make sure that you're not on here. That's the parent file. You're in here, and then after you click that, go to create a sketch, and then don't select this as your plane. Make sure you select this end. Actually, I have to check which end is the right end. So let's go, before I actually select my work plane, let me go check what is my work plane. So this is the inner chassis length. So this is the length, and that's the width. So that means just by looking at it, I want to make the chassis length bigger because you're gonna have 4 wheels, right? And you don't want the wheels to touch to be too close. So if you're having 4 wheels, your chassis inner length should be bigger than the width. So press S to change that. Change parameters, right? So make sure that your chassis length is at least I would say 180, because you have 4 wheels and they have to fit. So I would say 180 is you see like that. So that way you can actually fit and then hit finish sketch. So that way you can fit 1 wheel over here and 1 wheel all the way over there. Now go to press create a sketch, and then don't select the middle, but select this end so you can cut the hole for the motor in the end like this. Now what I want to do first is I want to know where the inside of the wall is. You see how there's a wall, right? But I can't cut a hole all the way in the end, because then it will get in the way of that wall. It will cut too much from that wall. So I'm going to use project P, press P on your keyboard, and project this, and then also project this side. So you see how this line that showed up, that's the line that indicates where the wall is. So I know I can't cut a hole on there, because then that would interfere with that wall. So next thing you should do is you should measure out. Let's do a circle. So let's do a circle, diameter circle. Let's do a 23 millimeter circle, right? Like this. Just put it anywhere for now. You see, you can move it around. And then I want to define it so that I am not cutting it too close to this line over here. So I'm going to let's use D to define, right? And then define this edge and that edge. And let's make that so that the diameter of the circle is 23. That means the radius is 11.5. So if you make the distance between the radius right here and this line 11.5, it will be too close. So I'm going to make this about, let's say, 13 millimeters, so that it's close but not that close. It would not cut. You see, it's close but not that close. So 13 millimeters, right? And then so I defined it 13 millimeters from that line. And then also let's make sure that this is in the center of the chassis height. So I'm going to define from here to here. And I want that to be, remember the whole thing is about, we said 40 millimeters, right? So I want that to be about 20, because that would be right in the middle, right? You see how it's right in the middle? Now this circle is now fully defined. That's why it looks black, because it means that it's fully defined. So let me just move this and move that so you can kind of see what that means. So that means that the circle that we drew is 13 millimeters from the edge, and then 20 millimeters. See, this 20 is right here. Okay. Now I'm going to make a parameter so that way so that way it stays. Actually, I don't need to make a parameter because it's defined. So it's always going to be 13 millimeters from the edge, from that line, and then it will be 20 millimeters from this edge. Okay, now what you want to do is you want to do the same exact thing on the other side. So how do you do that? Well, you don't have to redo everything. What you have to do is you just have to use the mirror tool. Well, before we use the mirror tool, let's actually cut the hole, right? Let's cut the hole. So click on it, press E, and then let's instead of saying new body, cut, right? And then when it asks for the distance, extend type, put to the object, and then select the bottom of it. So it cut like that. You see, now it cut the first motor hole. Now what we could do is we don't have to do this whole thing all over again. We can just mirror it. So press S on your keyboard, go to mirror, and then go to mirror, and then say I want to mirror a feature, and then select that feature that you just made, the last extrusion on the timeline, and then mirror plane. Let's pick mirror plane to be this plane right here. You see how I changed the angle, so you can select the mirror plane like that. So now you see how it mirrored that side, and now I have to mirror this whole thing on the other side as well. So let's do that. So again, press S and then put mirror. And then now I want to mirror objects, and then what objects? Mirror object type is a feature, but then which objects? I want to mirror this. I want to mirror this whole thing and this whole thing. See, now I'm selecting both holes, and then select mirror plane and select this one. So you see now, if you do that, you see how it's starting to cut that hole on the other side. So now I have all the 4 holes cut for the chassis. And now what I need to do is I need to just put the motor mounting plates. And how do you find motor mounting plates? Well, you see how if you go back to if you click on this 9 dots again, you see you're on your own hub, right? Go to my hub, the one that I created. It's called BattleBots. So you see how it will say, oh, if you're leaving the hub, you should save it. So press save, right? So you're saving everything you have done. And the reason for doing that is I want to put the motor mounting plate on it. So go to my hub. You see the BattleBot hub right there. And then go to this file over here that says CAD files, right? And then pick this dot box motor mounting plate, right? You see this one? This is the one that I need for all the motors to mount. So I'm going to select file, export, and you can put it into as a step file. You see how it says what do you want to how do you want to export it as a step file, and just put it on your desktop. You see how location, this is dot box mount plate, no screws. In the desktop, press export as a step file, and then now I'm going to go back to my my own hub, the student hub that you created, which is Be Smart Robotics, and then I'm going to put that piece in there. So now I'm going to go back to my student hub that I created, and now all I have to do is I have to upload the CAD file. So how do you do that? Before you do that, let's make another folder called electronics. You see, I right click on this and put component 2, let's call it electronics, because motor is part of electronic, and create that, right? And then you say upload, and then it says what you want to upload. Select files, and then put in the desktop. I saved this the motor mount, right? And then I selected that and say upload. You see how it's uploading into your project, right? So it's uploading it to your project. Okay, now it's done. So I'm gonna drag it and put it into make sure that you're in electronics. Okay, before you do that, make sure you're in electronics. You see how before I was in chassis, now I'm in electronics, because I'm gonna drag this into electronics like that. And then you see now use these like circular thing to like orientate 90 degrees. So after you move it around a little bit, the goal is to get this to be on top of one of those holes, right, in electronics, because this is an electronic piece, right? To put this is the piece, it's a motor mount. So to put the motor, you want this to be directly in the center of one of the holes. So it doesn't matter which hole you're moving it to, but use these arrows, right, to kind of move it to a good distance somewhere. And then I will show you how to like use a joint command to join this to the center of that one of the holes. So now while you're in the electronics, go to create a sketch, right? And then make sure when they ask you to pick the plane, don't pick that plane, the origin plane, but pick this surface. And then it will say you want to capture position. Sure, capture the position, right? What I want to do is I want to get the center of one of these holes so I can align it to the center. So what I will do is I will just draw a line from like the end, like one of the edges to the other edge, and then do the same thing. Let's do the same thing on the other side, just to get like, I want to get the center point so I can join it to the center. So I got like the diameter, right? You see I'm drawing a line to match the diameter, and then I can convert this into construction because this is not a real line anyway. I'm just trying to get the midpoint of this. So I can just say this is also construction. You can also click over here to make it construction, right? And then I'm going to go to the point, right? And then trace the middle, and you see right there in the middle, that's the center. Now, the reason why I did that is now I want to move this motor mount to the center of that circle. So how do you do that? So hit finish sketch now, because I'm done with that sketch. Now I'm gonna go to under modify, and no, actually under assemble, there's something called joint, and go to joint and make sure you're still in electronics. And under joint, right, you see how it asks you what do you want to joint, right? And then if you hover your mouse over, you see how if you can see the piece, right? You can hover your mouse over to the bracket, and then I'm holding down control, and then I'm going to pick the center of the piece. And then they ask what's the second component. Well, I already selected the first component. The second component is right there, the center. You see how it kind of joins like that? Now that's great, but you see how if I leave it like that, the hole will go into that wall, right? So I'm going to rotate it like 90 degrees like this, like that. So now that's perfect. Now you made a joint. You see now the joint is right there, and you can see that there's like a different feature right there. You see it's called the joint, and if you double click on it and say edit joint, you can kind of move it, and right now it looks like that that motor mount is actually inside the wall. So I'm going to move it just a little bit. That's too much, because you see how now you can use the cube to like pan around. Maybe let's move it like 4. If you move it 4, we see how it's right, it's touching the wall. So that's pretty good, and press enter. Now you have your the motor mount right there. Now what you could do is you could, in electronics, you can try to mirror this too. So every motor hole will have that. So how do you do that? Let's press S again, and then mirror, and then it will ask what do you want to mirror. I want to mirror, they ask what do you want to mirror, put component, and then you see how it says and then select that component, the joint that you did, right? And then the mirror plane, you can select and then use the cube to select that one, so you can kind of mirror it right there. And then also you can select, press OK. Now you see how this one is now, there's another motor mount on this side, and you can actually use that and drag this on the electronics too. So you see how what I did? So let me go back. So you see how when you made that, right, it created a different component, and it says electronic mirror. I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to right click on it to change the name, and just I'm going to call that component that we just created dot box pro CF mount, because it's still a motor mount plate, right? And then you see how I renamed it, and then I just drag it and put it on the electronics, so that way it's still under the same thing. Now I could do that one more time. Let's mirror that one more time. So press S, mirror, and then go instead of component, put object type component, and then select these two, and then mirror plane, select that, and then press OK. And you see how now it created another component. Let's rename this component to the same thing, because they're all just motor mounts. Dot box pro CF mount plate, and then you can just drag it, click on it and drag it and put it under electronics, so that way it's all under the same thing. Now it looks good. And what I want to do is, now I want to cut these tiny little holes, so like I can actually mount the motor mount plate into the chassis. So how do you do that? So just pick one, right? One motor mount, and then press P to project, and then it will add, so I just press P on the keyboard, and then it will ask, what do you want to project? Select a plane or planar surface. I'm going to select this motor mount, and then so that way I can select, see that hole right there and this hole right there. Make sure you're only clicking that, like zoom in to click on the hole only. So that 4 holes, right? These are the 4 holes that need to be cut into chassis, and press OK. So you see now I projected these holes. You see these holes are now projected. And now what I want to do is I want to go back to chassis and see if I can see those projections. And I can see those projections, because if you like mouse over it, you see I can select that, right? So what I want to do is I want to select, just use the control to select 1, 2, 3, 4, right? You see I selected all 4, and then press E, and instead of new body, let's say cut, and then when they say what kind of cut you want to do, or the extent type, hover over using the cube and put the extent type as to the object, and then select this object right here, and then boom, you see how it cut the holes, so I can put the motor mount right there. Now once you do that, all you have to do is you have to do that cut that you just did on that side. Which side was it? This side, right? To all of the ones. So how do you do that? So let's use the mirror command again. So press S, go to mirror, and say what do you want to mirror? Well, not component this time. Put features, and select the feature, and then select the mirror plane like that, and press OK. And then after you do that, you have to mirror it again on the front side. So again, S, mirror, and say I want to select this feature and this feature, and select the mirror plane. So click on it, and then go to this plane. You see how I'm hovering over to that plane right there? And then boom, you're done. Now you have a chassis, and it has the holes to put the motor mounts. Okay, let's stop here. We'll continue on the next step. Make sure to press Ctrl and S to save it. Make sure it saves, and you're done.